everybody, happy Monday. I'm going to read our fairy tale for this week, but before I read, I want to see if you can guess which fairy tale it is. I think it's one that a lot of you know. Are you ready to guess? Here we go. Bippity, boppity, boop. Can you guess which fairy tale? Cinderella, you got it! So I'm going to be reading Cinderella today, and thank you Penguin Random House for giving us permission to read this story while we're out of school. And we're going to be doing a lot of activities on Seesaw with Cinderella this week. So you might want to watch this video a couple times during the week because we're going to do some activities with the characters of Cinderella. We're going to be doing some retelling, and we're going to be comparing some stories too. So let's go ahead and read Cinderella. Be listening to see which elements of a fairy tale you can find in Cinderella. It has a lot. Okay, this version is illustrated by Ron Diaz and Bill Lawrence. Remember, fairy tales are really, really old, so we usually don't know who the original authors were. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a widowed gentleman and his lovely daughter, Ella. Ella was a beautiful girl. She had golden hair and her eyes were as blue as forget-me-nots. The gentleman was a kind and devoted father, and he gave Ella everything her heart desired. But he felt she needed a mom. So he married again, choosing for his wife a woman who had 2 daughters, Anastasia and Drizella. Let's look at this picture. Do we have any clues about her stepmom and stepsisters, about maybe their personality, maybe some character traits? The gentleman soon died. Then the stepmother's true nature was revealed. She was only interested in her mean, selfish daughters. What does it mean to be selfish? The stepmother gave Ella a little room in the attic, old rags to wear, and all of the housework to do. Soon everyone called her Cinderella, because when she cleaned the fireplaces, she was covered in cinders. But Cinderella had many friends. The old horse and Bruno the dog loved her. The mice loved her too. She protected them from her stepmother's nasty cat, Lucifer. 2 of her favorite mice were Gus and Jacques. Cinderella was kind to everyone, even to Lucifer. But Lucifer the cat took advantage of her kindness. Can you think of any character traits to describe Cinderella? Lucifer liked to get Cinderella in trouble. One morning, he chased Gus onto Anastasia's breakfast tray. She screamed and blamed Cinderella. "Come here," the stepmother said to Cinderella. "The windows, wash them. Then scrub the terrace, sweep the halls, and of course, there's the laundry." In another part of the kingdom, the king was worrying about his son. "It's high time he married and settled down," he told the Grand Duke. But sire," said the Grand Duke, "we must be patient." "No buts about it," shouted the king. "We'll have a ball tonight. It will be very romantic. Send out the invitations." When the invitation arrived, Cinderella's stepmother announced, "There's a ball! In honor of the prince, every eligible maiden is able to attend." "That means I can go too," Cinderella said. "Well, I see no reason why you can't," the stepmother replied with a sly smile. What does sly mean? We've talked about this word before. "If you get your work done, and if you can find something suitable to wear." Do you think Cinderella is going to be able to go to the ball? Cinderella had hoped to fix her old party dress, but Anastasia and Drizella wanted her to help them instead. The stepmother kept her busy too. Cinderella worked hard all day long. When she finally returned to her little attic room, it was almost time to leave for the ball, and her dress wasn't ready. How do you think Cinderella feels right now? If you were Cinderella, how would you feel? But the loyal mice had managed to find ribbons, sashes, ruffles, and bows. The mice had sewn them to her party dress, and it looked beautiful. The stepsisters shrieked when they saw Cinderella. "They're my ribbons! That's my sash!" They tore her dress to shreds. "Come along now, girls," said the stepmother, and they left Cinderella behind. Cinderella ran into the garden. She wept and wept. Suddenly a hush fell over the garden, and a cloud of lights began to twinkle and glow around Cinderella's head. "Come now, dry those tears," said a gentle voice. Then a small woman appeared in the cloud. "You can't go to the ball looking like that. What in the world did I do with that magic wand?" It's a new character. "But magic wand?" gasped Cinderella. "Then you must be your fairy godmother," the woman replied, pulling her magic wand out of thin air. "The first thing you need is a pumpkin." Why do you think Cinderella needs a pumpkin? A cloud of sparkles floated across the garden. A pumpkin rose up and then swelled into an elegant coach. The mice turned into horses, and the old horse became a coachman, and Bruno became a footman. "Well, hop in, my dear," said the fairy godmother. "But my dress," said Cinderella. The fairy godmother looked at it. Good heavens! With a wave of her wand, bippity-boppity-boop, she turned the rags into an exquisite gown. On Cinderella's feet were tiny glass slippers. What do you think Cinderella feels now? "You'll have only till midnight," the fairy godmother said. "At the stroke of 12, the spell will be broken, and everything will be as it was before." Cinderella promised to leave the ball on time. Then, under a shower of magic sparkles, she stepped into her coach and was swept away to the palace. When Cinderella arrived at the ball, the prince was yawning with boredom. Then he caught sight of her. Ignoring everyone else, the prince walked over to Cinderella. He kissed her hand and asked her to dance. They swirled across the ballroom. The prince didn't leave Cinderella's side all night. They danced every dance together. As the lights dimmed and sweet music floated out into the summer night, Cinderella heard the clock begin to chime. What time is it? "Oh, goodness," she gasped. "It's midnight. I must... Goodbye." "Wait, come back," called the prince. I don't even know your name." What did Cinderella leave behind? Cinderella hurried down the palace steps. In her haste, that means she was going very quickly, she lost one of the glass slippers, but she had no time to pick it up. She leaped into the waiting coach. As soon as the coach went through the gates, the magic spell was broken. Cinderella found herself standing by the side of the road, dressed in her old rags. On one foot, she still wore a glass slipper. Her coachman was an old horse again, and her footman was Bruno the dog. Her coach was a hollow pumpkin, and her horses were 4 of her mouse friends. They looked sadly at Cinderella. They all hurried home. They had to be back before the others returned from the ball. The next day, the stepmother told the girls that the Grand Duke was coming to see them. He's been hunting all night for that girl, the one who lost her slipper. That girl shall be the prince's bride. Cinderella smiled and hummed a waltz that had been played at the ball. The stepmother became suspicious, so she locked Cinderella in her room. What are some words that you would use to describe Cinderella's stepmother? Think of some adjectives that describe her on the outside, and then think of some character traits that would describe her personality, what kind of friend she is. Gus and Jacques had a plan to help Cinderella. While Anastasia and Drizella tried to squeeze their big feet into the little glass slipper, the 2 mice sneaked into the stepmother's pocket. They got hold of the key, tugged it upstairs, and unlocked the door. Cinderella rushed downstairs to try on the glass slipper. "May I try it on?" Cinderella asked. The wicked stepmother fumed. She tripped the footman who was holding the glass slipper. It fell to the floor and broke into 1,000 pieces. So it said that the stepmother was fuming. She fumed. What clues does the story give us about what that might mean? She tripped the footman who was holding the glass slipper. So she didn't want Cinderella to try it on. I think that fumed meant that she was really, really angry and really upset. So what's Cinderella going to do now? How do you think she can solve the problem? "But you see," Cinderella said, reaching into her pocket, "I have the other slipper." She put it on and it fit perfectly. From that moment on, everything was a dream come true. Cinderella went off to the palace with the happy Grand Duke. The prince was overjoyed to see her, and so was the king. Cinderella and the prince were soon married. In her happiness, Cinderella didn't forget about her animal friends. They all moved into the castle with her. Everyone in the kingdom was delighted with the prince's new bride, and Cinderella and the prince lived, you got it, happily ever after. The end. Awesome, friends. So before we go, I have some magic wands that have some questions on them. And so I'm going to choose a few of these wands and ask some questions, and I want you to talk about them with your grown-up. You can even write the answer to one of the questions and put it on Seesaw. Are you ready? Let's see. What is the setting of this story? Think about, what is a setting? You remember? Good job. It's where and when the story happened. So where did this story happen? Here's your next one. Ooh, what happened at the beginning of the story? This will help you with your Seesaw activity. So what happened at the beginning of Cinderella? You can pause and talk to a grown-up about it. Here's the last question. Was there magic? Think about, was there any magic in this story? Magic is one of the elements that are in a lot of fairy tales. Think about what happened in the story that was magic. So you can talk about these 3 questions with your grown-ups at your house, and then you can write the answers to one of them in your home journal, and you can put it on Seesaw. There's an activity for today on Seesaw with Cinderella. You're going to be sequencing and retelling the story. We're going to be doing some more activities with Seesaw tomorrow about Cinderella, and then later this week, I'm going to read a fractured version of Cinderella called Prince Cinders. So in this story, the main character is a boy. So keep working hard, friends. I hope that you have time to play today. Make sure that you're reading a lot, and I will talk to you again soon.